Hey, quick story for you here. We've seen it happen more than once here in the Twin Cities. A deal is moving along just fine, and then right before closing, a furnace issue, an electrical concern, or even a roofing question pops up. And suddenly things get stressful. That's exactly why we created our worry-free closing program at Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric. We send a licensed technician out to check the furnace, AC, electrical safety, water heater, and water softener, coordinate a roof evaluation with a licensed roofing contractor, and provide a full report on all the home's major systems. We can do this during due diligence or even before a home is listed, so potential issues get caught early. If you're a realtor or you're buying or selling a home, there's a simple way to keep things smooth. Twin City Heating, Air, Electric, built here, stays here.
From working in his family's Chinese restaurant, to bartending, to becoming present-day owner of Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, my father's true superpower is human connection. Now, he's on a mission to capture the most fascinating stories that make up the Minnesota community. You're listening to the Twin City Tales podcast.
I'm Wymond Wong. I spend my days keeping Twin Cities homes warm, cool, comfortable, and powered safely. But my true passion is bringing you electrifying tales from people who make Minnesota such an incredibly comfortable place to call home. Welcome to Twin City Tales. Well, my guest today is she grew up 4 houses from the fire station her dad worked in for 23 years on land where her grandparents once farmed corn, tomatoes, inside the Crystal city limits. Yes, there was a farm in Crystal. From there, she built a career in service juvenile corrections, then 12 years supporting adults with disabilities. Then an opportunity landed in her lap, a janitorial supply company called Royal Supply. She bought in right as the pandemic hit. 10 months later, her business partner walked out and left her holding the bag. What happened next? She rebuilt it from the ground up, bought a building, learned to fix vacuums and floor scrubbers herself, and now owns the whole thing outright. This is Missy Wilson's story on Twin City Tales. Welcome to the show, Missy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
This will be fun. I loved your story and how you grew up in Crystal. And, take us back to what the memories were like there.
Oh gosh, I mean, it was so great just to have my grandparents 4 houses the opposite direction of the fire station, that I could walk up to Grandma and Grandpa's farm and I could help pick weeds. I hated it, but it was such a help to my grandparents to not have to bend over and pick weeds in the tomato plants. And I always got to, for lunch, have a tomato sandwich, which I cannot make the same since Grandma passed away. But it was just so great to have family so close and grew up with the last farm in Crystal and learned so much about the area and the community.
Wow. What's interesting when you said tomato sandwich was what's her Jenny Bites makes a tomato sandwich.
I haven't been there to try it yet, but I know who you're talking about.
I've never had a tomato sandwich. Like, I kind of think that that's a little bit odd, but I do love tomatoes.
Yeah.
And it's just tomato and like mayo, or what's in just the tomato sandwich?
Yeah, so Grandma would make it really simple. She would toast both pieces of bread. One would have butter, one would have mayo on it, and then just those fresh, ripe tomatoes that I just got done helping her pick in the garden, and then selling at her tomato stand. But I think that was just part of it. It was just the love and the way that Grandma did it and made it. And it didn't seem like anything special, but it just has never tasted the same since Grandma is no longer here. But super simple and just really good.
I'm gonna have to try a tomato sandwich, especially with fresh tomatoes.
Yes,
it's like beautiful. Where was that farm at? Because a lot of people that probably are growing up now or drive by there, you would never know where it was off of Douglas there. Where was that farm?
So as you're heading, oh gosh, my directions are probably going to be incorrect, but let's just say between 36th Avenue and 42nd Avenue, which is also Old Rockford Road, right? County Road 9 on Douglas Drive. And so there's this hill as you're heading towards 36th Avenue. Basically on that hill, there was the old farmhouse is still there. 2 gentlemen live there. They renovated the house. The lower field is now redeveloped to homes, and then like the upper field is where the corn was is a couple more houses now.
Yeah. But it's all kind of developed over now.
It is.
You can't even tell if there was a farm field there.
No.
And I grew up in Crystal Gold. Well, I was in Golden Valley,
Yeah.
but we'd go up there. You couldn't even if you told me there was a farm back there, I would have never known.
Yeah.
And that's the 80s.
I know. Yeah.
So, yeah, while you were growing up, which is super cool.
Yeah. Yep. That's where I learned to drive a Bobcat in 5th grade. I would keep my mower trailer there. So as soon as I was done, every Thursday in high school, I would go pick up my mower trailer with my 36 walk behind mower and go mow lawns. And Grandpa kept my trailer for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Your first taste of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
And your dad was a firefighter in that community at that time, right?
Yeah,
And
so
your-
he worked full time for the city of Crystal, which was just across the street from our house. He would just go walk to the city building, come home for lunch. He could walk home for lunch, but then firefighting was a volunteer position at that time. Now these days they're paid on call or what have you, but it was a volunteer position. And so that was kind of nights and weekends. It was not his full time gig because you didn't get paid for it. It was just volunteer work.
Right.
So, but amazing to have it 4 houses down the street, essentially. If he couldn't, jump in the car and go, he just went cruise down the sidewalk to get there, especially in the winter.
And it's nice because, and I'm guessing it was in the 80s that he was.
Yes.
And I know a little bit about that where, yes, it's not a paid position and it's very thankless sometimes, but the pension is kind of nice. It kind of builds you into a pension plan.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a fantastic thing. And then your mom worked at a bank, right?
Yeah. So right down the street, even as well, growing up, it was the old Norwest Bank, and it was down on the corner of 41st and Douglas. So she worked there when I was really, really little. I should say she stayed at home with my sister and I for a couple of years until we started school, and she worked at that bank before we were born, and then further went back to banking at Wells Fargo downtown afterwards when we went back to school.
And it's such a cute little tight community in Crystal
Yeah.
and Robbinsdale. It's all in that one little pocket, which
Yeah.
just a little gem of
It
those
is.
western suburbs.
Yeah, unless people really know about it, they don't really know the pocket of Robbinsdale, Crystal, New Hope that are just tucked in there together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have all the whiz bang days and
Yeah, so Crystal has the Crystal Frolics, and then New Hope has Duck Duck Days, and then Robbinsdale has their Whiz Bang Days. Yeah. So
it just brings you that small town feel,
Yes.
but so close to the cities, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
That's super cool. And you grew up in that very community-centered family. How did that shape you into who you are today, you think?
Yeah, gosh. There's lots of really great connections and learning from my family too, of my dad having a side landscape business. So he worked for the city. He was a firefighter. He had a side landscape company. That's where I went in with my mowing business. It was really part of his. My mom and dad would landscape on the side together after their full-time jobs. But even just the further connections that you make, I went on to be selected as a Robbinsdale princess many moons ago. And you could only be eligible as a candidate because of being in the school district for Robbinsdale, if you volunteered in the city or if you lived in the city of Robbinsdale. So because I was in the Robbinsdale school district, I was eligible. I was crowned a princess. And then I was in 40 plus parades the year that I was selected. And just all the people that you meet. Everybody has their amazing little communities and how everyone's connected. But then I just further volunteered from there. Had my first job at a gas station in Robbinsdale, so Sipes gas station.
Yeah.
I worked there as the gas attendant, and then later I said I want to be in the back and I want to change oil and fix tires. So I did. I got to fill propane tanks and do oil changes and learn how to do all that stuff. But you just knew who would come in, who had full service gas, whose windshield you're washing that day. Everybody just can help one another out when you have these connections, right?
Wow, you brought back full service gas.
Yeah.
I don't think you can find any place that does full service anymore.
I think there is actually one in Elk River for sure by me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they'll come out and go pump your gas for you. And,
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, you won't see it anywhere in the city here.
No, I agree. It's really hard to find that.
But it is kind of cool. I remember back in the and obviously I was born in '65, but
Yeah.
I remember when my dad was younger, when we were younger in the '70s. Actually, right off Fieldworth Parkway,
Yes.
there was a Shell station there. My dad used if you fill gas there, and I brought your receipt, you would get a special little Vikings cocktail glass.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like a smoky cocktail glass. And I actually had that
it.
as a memory, so I actually had
Yeah.
to buy one off eBay.
Yes.
Because I thought it was so cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's really neat. And then, of course, you were in the parade, so you must have done the Raspberry Parade, which is coming up in Hopkins. That's
Yes.
always huge.
You're right.
For me, I
Those were
always
some of
love
my
that.
favorite friends on the parade routes because you end up seeing all of the same kind of communities and their royalty at the different parades.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really close with the Blaine gals, which they have. Oh my gosh, I forgot their. It's around 4th of July is their festival.
Whiz Bang Days was their old one, but now it's it was not Whiz Bang
That was
Days. I'm sorry.
Ravenstale. It's okay.
Fireworks or whatever.
Yes.
But now it's like
Oh,
they just do
Blazin'
Blaze.
Plain.
Yeah, it was Blaze and Plain.
Yes, okay.
And then now they don't do that anymore. They just
Okay.
call it the celebration or fireworks, celebrating Plains
Okay.
celebration or
Something
like
like that. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, as you go around to all the different communities, I mean, I was down in, I was out in Delano sometimes for a different. Because they did 4th of July as well.
Yeah.
So Delano was huge down in Northfield for the Jesse James Day.
Oh yeah.
So it was all over the place. Aquatennial, Winter Carnival, Cambridge for their Snowflake Parade.
That's right.
Yeah, so you just get to meet people all over the place. And even to this day, I mean, I know an amazing photographer in the Cambridge area. And then I know, these folks that are involved with Winter Carnival and they're huge. And so it's really neat to travel around and you just know somebody from festival days
Yeah.
everywhere.
And then just even going around, you learn kind of a little history because when you brought up Northfield, they do the Jesse at that time.
Yeah.
Every year when they do the parade,
Yes.
they do like a reenactment of
Yeah.
Jesse James robbing the Northfield
Yeah.
Bank, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's so
pretty
cool.
cool. It is really cool. And then you went to Cooper High School, right?
Yes.
And then from there, you went on to sociology.
I did,
right?
yeah.
Degree?
Yep. So I started at Concordia Moorhead and then transferred to Augsburg College, which is now Augsburg University these days. They changed the name. But so I ended up graduating from there with a sociology degree and psychology minor.
So
Yeah.
you learn how to work with people. I mean, I'm sure you didn't learn it right when you got out, but
No.
do you think that experience taught you more about people and how you still carry that today?
I definitely do. I mean, a lot of people are like, sociology, that's just such a broad thing to, study, but it's amazing what you can do with it and how I've just utilized those skills throughout the different positions career-wise and or the relationships I've just held in personal life and business, right?
Yeah.
So starting in corrections, I really had to understand the inmates. And if there was like gang affiliations, I had to decide who I was letting out of their cells at the same time. And so I just had to be very smart about it and learn that sociological aspect of who's going to work better with who, or if there's those different affiliations, you couldn't let them out. It was going to be trouble. You were going to be in a lot of trouble just because I was my own officer by myself in that mod, and you have up to 12 inmates. So you have to be smart about it. And then when I left and went on to disability services and just working with training in staff to then work with the people in their homes, you have to really look at somebody's characteristics and if they're going to be a good fit for one another. We're walking into somebody else's home and helping them with life skills. You can't just piece anybody together. It has to be a good fit for a reason. So just all of those skills is super helpful. And then now with Royal Supply, not everybody wants the same toilet paper, right?
That's true. There's a little bit of association and how you
Yeah.
work that. But you know what was interesting in our conversation before?
Yeah.
You were telling me a story about a man who had serious brain injury and left him believing every day was like a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
How do people like him change your perspective in life?
Oh gosh, we just, he helped me see that we can just take so many things for granted, where if you pare down life and make it very simple, I mean, it was so simple as to crossing a day off on a calendar to tell him what day it actually was, not that it was just Tuesday, because that's the day that his accident happened. To then simple tasks that we take for granted, like going to the grocery store. With a brain injury, you can't compartmentalize those things and what you need and why you might need them. because you're, baking cookies. And so I might need chocolate chips and I might need flour. Well, he's not going to put those things together because of his brain injury. So it's just the things that we take for granted when we don't have that lack of ability per se. So it was just so helpful and humbling to work with somebody like him that found such joy in the little things that he could accomplish still as an adult. He would never get his license back because he'd forget where he's going. He asked me, Missy, can you help me find a church to belong to? And so I would go pick him up on Sundays and find different places that he would want to potentially worship at. We tried a couple of different services. He found one he really liked. And then it was up to me to help connect him to other members in the church that could help him get there regularly. Right. And without somebody who's paid to do that, and it could be a natural connection in his world. And so that he could consistently go there and feel welcome and a place to belong. And so I helped him do that. And it felt so good because we can just go wherever we want, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to think about that. We didn't have something blocking that decision-making process like he did. So just a really cool experience.
Wow. And it's the little things that you don't realize and just be grateful for it that, that you have that ability. And that's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
And so you spent like over a decade with that, helping people with disabilities. And then before that, you spent it in corrections.
Yep.
What made you realize, like, I got to start a new chapter in my life?
Yeah. So super quick story because I like stories, right? So the mod that I was in charge of in corrections, so they called it a mod that could help hold up to 12 inmates in it. Mine was actually split. So I had 12 cells over here, which were juveniles. And then the other part of my mod held adults. So if they had to come in and take care of a juvenile warrant, our building was connected to court, Hennepin County court system. So long story short of that, there was a gentleman that came in. He was an adult. He had to be put in that one side of my mod. So I was in charge of him. And but when he came in, he was in a wheelchair and he had been paralyzed from the waist down. He was in a gang-related shooting, so then was now paralyzed. But he still had an outstanding warrant that he had to take care of from when he was younger. So when he came in the building, it felt like everybody, administration was kind of freaking out because they just didn't know how to work with him. He was in a wheelchair. He had a catheter. They segregated him on even a separate mod. It was on like the 3rd floor all by himself. And I said, I'm going to go work with him. And they said, if you go work with this guy, you have to wear this suit. And now that COVID's happened, we know what those like big suits look like. It looked like an astronaut suit. And I said, this is so silly. Why do you have to wear a suit to work with this one gentleman when he is a person? And so it just showed me that environment, they just didn't know how to work with somebody who had a different ability that they didn't really understand. And so I just in my own mind decided I need to be somewhere else where this person is treated like a human being and not segregated on his own and not interacting with other people. So it's just kind of a crazy transition, but it led me to disability services and working with people in a different way.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I was looking at and I correct me if I'm wrong because I feel like I might have mistakenly on the introduction part talked about you working with just juveniles. So you worked with both adults and juveniles with challenges.
Oh yeah, primarily adults actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I misunderstood that when we talked before. But
no, that's okay.
Still, the juveniles are still, that's a hard one because it's like they're at that age where they're still trying to figure themselves out, but they're not fully brain developed.
Yes.
And so.
Well, and especially in a detention center. I mean, so it was the juvenile detention center of Hennepin County. Yeah. So as soon as they are picked up off the street for whatever reason, they were brought to our building and then they were held there until they went to court to find their sentencing. Yeah. So they really didn't care attitude-wise or whatnot or how they behaved being there. The cool thing about that center is they do have the Minneapolis public school system in it. So if kids were held there long enough, then they could still go to school, still be productive with their life while they're kind of figuring out the next step with their sentencing. But it was anywhere from curfew violations to aggravated robberies, assaults, and, homicides.
Yeah.
So it was hard work for sure.
It is. It is. I can't imagine. It's something that I don't think I could ever do.
Yeah.
And it's got to be the love of people.
Yes.
I love people, but I don't know if I can do the troubled stuff, like the not the troubled stuff, but the challenging things, right?
Yeah.
I love people. I love helping people.
Right.
I just don't know if I can handle the challenging part of the people.
Yeah, it definitely made some of the old timers, hard-hearted in a way, because it was tough stuff that you're doing every day.
Yeah. And I know at that time, you're probably like, you even was like when you're working at the disability center or even with the detention center.
Yeah.
There was nothing in your mind that said, I'm going to go into janitorial services and supplies.
No.
And I'll be fixing these vacuum cleaners.
No.
And so how did that come about?
Okay, so when I was doing disability services, they reorged for, let's say, like the 5th time, and my position was shoved out the door. So all of a sudden, I don't have a job, and I've done this blood, sweat, and tears for 12 years. And so I thought, what am I going to do next? So I then spent the next 2 years, I don't want to say floundering. I helped out a friend with his landscape company because I've done landscaping, so I know how to do it, and helped him run it for 2 years. I worked in the school district. I sold pull tabs for 18 years. So a lot of things, just trying to figure out what's next for Missy. And then all of a sudden, my mom came to me and or called me because she lives 2 hours away. So she said, Missy, you just did your vision board for the year. I said, yeah, you're right. I usually pick a word of the year and then I create some goals for myself, right? And so that year I'd picked the word simplify. So when she called me, she remembered that and she said, Missy, on your vision board is the word simplify, right? I said, yeah, what's going on? As I'm working like 10 jobs. And she said, this opportunity came up to potentially buy a business. And this could be a way for you to simplify what you have going on in life. And I thought, okay. So all of a sudden, like 2 months later, so that was in February. And then in, the end of April, we, meaning my mom primarily in the beginning, closed on this business. So, which is Royal Supply. She had said, I'm not going to say yes to this opportunity unless you're in, Missy. So no pressure. I'm the one in the cities here. My uncle was involved with the previous owner of Royal Supply. And then my mom lives 2 hours away in Cross Lake, and she owns her own business. So she couldn't physically be in the cities to do this, but relied really on me to do it. So I said yes, closed on Royal Supply April of 2020. And then hello, COVID. And everybody needing every cleaning supply and toilet paper under the sun, right?
Yeah.
So, wow, I'm just jumping 2 feet in to learn a totally different industry, and off and running we went.
And talking about simplifying, right? Like, I know as an entrepreneur, when you own a business, you're not simplifying stuff. You are like complicating your life even more, right? Sometimes you can have several different jobs, like in the real world out there, and not be an entrepreneur. Yeah, that's not bad. But if you're talking about simplifying your life, I would never highly recommend anybody, hey, you should just buy a business.
Buy a business.
And especially right before the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And you know what's really amazing about that, too? Like, you talk about simplify, but 1 year later, your uncle unexpectedly walked away. The person that knew about what janitorial business was and all that stuff. Did you ever have a moment at that point? Like, and I have the feeling you did. Like, I just need to give up. This is hard. Pandemic, and then your business partner leaving. Yes. That knows the business.
Yes. Yes. However, so my mom was the investor, and then it was my uncle and I basically working on her behalf because she owned it. But so the biggest thing for me when he walked away was, oh my gosh, my mom is on the hook for a business she knows this much about because she's not physically in the cities to help do this. She's running her own shop up 2 hours away. And I can't leave my mom high and dry either. And so that's where my mom and I had a heart-to-heart conversation and said, okay, we basically have two options, right? We're going to liquidate what's on our shelves and just sell our customer list and call it a year. Year of COVID, cool, we tried this thing. But by then I'd already started in networking groups. People started learning who Royal Supply really was. And I think we're just two stubborn women who don't wave white flags very, very easily, if at all, because we find a way.
Yeah.
And so our second option was basically call in all of our reps and teach us what is on our shelf, why we have it, and what it's doing for my customers, right? And so that's where we landed. We said, well, let's just give it another year and then we'll reevaluate and see where we're at. And so that's what my mom and I started doing. My mom had a really great guy at her shop. She would come live at my house 5 days a week to help me run Royal Supply, so it wasn't just me by myself. I had all of my reps coming at scheduling everybody in, learning about my trash bags and my chemicals and dispensers because they hold different papers and all of the things. And we did that for 9-10 months, and that's when I ended up deciding to purchase the building we're in now. So instead of leasing, I would get closer to home. I would own my own building. We could grow for product-wise, make, work harder and smarter, more efficiently to have more space and more product in. And here we are. Gosh, we just hit 6 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
A lot of people get 2 years into it, and most of you study business, they say 1 to 2 years is like the failure rate is in that time. So you're building something really special. That's really cool.
So, going back to what your question was about, like, giving up or it was hard. It was certainly hard, but I'm not somebody who gives up. And there's always people in your back pocket to help you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? There's great people like you who've done business before. You can ask the questions and you don't have to feel on your own island. You don't know my industry, but you know small business. Yeah. So just relying on other small business owners to kind of just give you those pep talks every once in a while is so helpful.
Well, one of the things that I learned, and I just from being in business, and I feel like you've learned that quickly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets harder, right? But it's like you got punched in the face pretty hard with the pandemic, and then your uncle walking away, right?
Yes.
And when I asked that question earlier, like, what made you not want to get out? I was like, go, okay, I've had it, right?
Yeah.
And your mom was a big reason.
Yes.
And I feel like even if you when you're going through owning a business, everybody thinks it's like, oh, it's much easier, right?
Yeah.
You always have challenges, whether it's, wherever level you're at, there's always challenges, whether you're just starting, you're in the mid-range, or even on a big corporation.
For sure.
You're still getting challenged with different things because you need more people. Processes change when you get to a certain level.
Yeah.
And it like $1 million process of a business is different from a $3 million process.
For sure.
It all changes.
Yeah.
So my part of your changing, especially in that hard time, was you told me that you had to ask every manufacturer and ask them to teach you the products. I really like that.
Yes.
What did that feel like for you? Because I feel like that's pretty intense training, all packed into one. What did that feel like to you?
Overwhelming at first, but I think I just had amazing, and I still have some of the same reps, but the reps were so amazing that they knew if Missy called with a question, this is why she needed that additional support. It's not because I've been in the industry. I want to sell your product as the manufacturing rep just as much as anybody else. And I had to stop telling myself that I'm just this little business, just this little person, because I matter too. But I think it was just so fulfilling that everybody was willing to be in my corner and help me succeed. Yeah. And so that really just helped me keep going. In addition to having still connections with the former owner, I actually contract him in to also help fix equipment when I don't know or don't know it or don't have time. And I wanted him to see and believe in me that it would still succeed and that Royal Supply would continue to live on. Not that the person he entrusted the business with initially would have let it fail, right? Yeah. And so there's sometimes where he'll come into my warehouse and say, wow, Missy, you brought this to the next level that I never took the time, right? Because he was towards the end of his like retirement in his career. And so he wasn't going to just all of a sudden buy into a big building.
Right.
And so he gets jazzed coming to see the things that I have going on and what I have done with it as well. So that's even just heartwarming for me to give him peace of mind of what he built for 10 years.
Yeah.
That I have continued on.
And I feel like that janitorial services is such probably a very male dominated industry also. So you're fighting through that a little bit, but you're fighting through a lot of things. The other thing that goes in my mind is like, yes, your uncle, and I'm not trying to like make your uncle sound like the bad guy.
No,
I'm just saying I'm just saying the challenges, right? And then he ended up working for a competitor shortly after that. So that's another big sock in the face, right?
For sure.
How difficult was it separating family from business?
I honestly haven't talked to him since the day that he walked away from the business, which is sad. I mean, because it's family.
Yeah.
And so you don't expect family's going to do that to you. And also when he goes to work for a competitor and he starts calling my customers to take the business away from me was another kind of punch in the gut, so to speak. But you know what? I just had to keep telling myself that do business the way that you're going to do business and people will see right through that, right? They'll see the customer service. They'll believe that you're going to get them the product you say you're going to get them when they're not feeling that on the other end. So I had a couple of customers leave Royal Supply and go follow him because they worked with him for years, but they quickly came back because they had empty promises. And so people are going to go where they're treated and where they know they can trust, right? The like and the trust process that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
So I had to keep telling myself, just do your business the way that you're going to do it and people will see that and come to Royal Supply for a reason.
No, that's and it's the way you take care of the customer, right? Like that's what sets you apart.
Yeah.
Like I think all that culminated from the detention center to really having Hartford disabled people to where you're at, what you're doing now is that all culminated into like you care about people.
Yes.
And even at a higher level, somewhat than me, right? Like, oh, they're challenging. I need to walk away from this.
I say like, oh, I can help you in a different way. I'm not going to tell you that, but that's I phrase it to myself in a different way, right? Then I know how to work with that person in a different way or handhold it a little bit differently. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, I just had to. I don't like the feeling of me as the owner and I don't have a salesperson. I'm the salesperson for my own business. Yeah. But I feel like salespeople have a negative connotation connected to that. You can think of like, oh, that person's really salesy. I don't want to work with them. Well, I never want anyone to feel that way about me. I'm going to talk about my business, and if we're a good fit, great. Yeah. If we're not, I'll bless and release that, and I go on to somebody else who might need my support and services. But I think that's just how I've treated it. And if it's a good fit, it's good. And if it's not, it's okay.
That's a great mindset to have because it's like the expectations isn't there, right?
True.
And I think sometimes you get that expectation because your books are looking really rough that month. I need the sale, so I'll do whatever I can do. But sometimes you got to stick to your actual internal beliefs.
Yes.
You'll be much happier. Yes.
Totally.
You might not have a few extra bucks in your account in revenue.
Yeah.
But you'll figure it out.
Oh, gosh,
you'll figure out how to make money.
Totally.
I mean, especially if you're focused on, at least I believe in that, and I think you and I have that same, focused on customer service, customer relationships.
Yeah.
It's not about the dollar.
No.
We're not chasing the dollar.
No.
We're never going to sacrifice our values for just the sake of a buck, right?
For sure. Yeah. And I think I could see that too. I was kind of doing cleanup after my uncle left because he was that sales guy. He knew the products. And I would notice at some customers' places that there was just a bunch of product in people's closets, cleaning closets. And I thought, no way. He was watching the numbers in the system and he would just do a sale and just cram it full of stuff that people didn't even need. And that's not how I ever want people to think of Royal Supply. I'm going to help you even reduce the amount of clutter in your closet because there might be one product that takes care of 3 things you're trying to accomplish. So let's declutter. I'm not trying to do a sales out of it. I'm trying to help you better make your place look or, So
Just as long as that 3-in-1 isn't like the toilet bowl brush and you can use this to clean your kitchen countertops. Too.
No, we won't do that. We color coordinate those things.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's a smart idea. See, those
Yeah.
are the things that a layman like me don't even think about. Like, wow, that's genius.
Yeah, there's colored mops, there's colored microfiber rigs for that.
So you're not wiping the toilet seats with the same thing you're wiping the kitchen counters
yeah,
with.
you.
So what's really, part of your story, which is really exciting to me too, is like, because that's more of the technical side of things, the mechanical side of things, is like, you actually started learning how to repair floor scrubbers and commercial cleaning equipment yourself.
Yeah.
How did someone with no technical background become that person fixing the machines?
Oh gosh, I think it was just, again, that like grit and that mindset of mine. So buying into this business, looking at the values that my former owner, Steve, had. He is the tinkering kind of guy. So he would say, let's say he's going to one of the churches that we support with supplies. And the janitor just happens to be there when he's delivering supplies saying like, oh gosh, my vacuum's not working right. It's just really not picking up. I don't know what's going on. And Steve goes, well, let me take a look. Right?
Yeah.
And so when we bought Royal Supply, that was just something I felt he did a great service to his customers, and that I needed to do that too, because people kind of expected it.
Yeah.
And then now we're into COVID, which we need to keep cleaning 10 times more than what we were before. And other technical folks out there, their work came first, not me trying to say, hey, can you go fix my customer's vacuum now? They had no time for that. And so I didn't want anybody to be without, not cleaning, couldn't do their job. The cleaning companies were waiting, right?
Yeah.
So I just said, I have to figure it out. So I honestly, to this day, have never YouTubed anything.
That's pretty good.
I don't even know how to look that stuff up. I don't need, there's too many words to, keywords and whatnot. So I would just go on service calls with Steve. So I contract him in. He's a 1099 guy with me. And so I would go on service calls with him, learn some things from him. And now I 90% of the time just can go do it myself.
Yeah.
Now that I have my tool bag and my set of sockets and whatever in the trunk of my car, I am mobile and I go anywhere to look at most equipment. Because as you get bigger pieces of equipment, people don't have trailers to haul it in somewhere. Or I have a big competitor who you have to bring it to them, and now you're not going to hear back for 3 to 4 weeks. Well, people don't have time to wait. So I show up on site at your place. You don't have to bring your machine anywhere. And I typically will have it fixed that day, if not a game plan within the next week, right? As I might have to wait for a part to come in. But that's just the beauty of just, I feel like, again, the grit of like, I have to figure it out. I have to do this for my customers. It's another service I can provide. They don't have to go somewhere else to look for it. So, and it gives me variety in my day.
Oh, yeah. I
Not that
suppose
it,
if
you know-
like the variety. Yeah, some people like variety. I'm one that likes that, but
Yeah.
I think entrepreneurs tend to do that because we tend to go squirrel. Like, we like the shiny object sometimes, and it keeps us from staying in one place. But sometimes
Yes.
that's one of our cruxes, right? As
Yes.
entrepreneurs, so
Yes.
you got to figure out how to balance that, which is really interesting too.
Totally. I mean, even as I look at the business, I mean, that's what's the rule, like the 80-20 rule?
Yeah.
What is 80% of your business versus the 20%? And that's definitely the 20% of my business.
Yeah.
But as I go check out somebody's piece of equipment, we can then be talking about your floor scrubber and what chemical are you putting in your floor scrubber? Is it the appropriate stuff? And it can lead to other things. So I might not just be there for the equipment, which is nice.
Yeah, what's really cool is it's not about the equipment. It's about you're going to where the customer is. Mm-hmm. I mean, and not just physically.
Yeah.
It's the customer's needs
Yes.
that you're really seeing a pain point,
Yeah.
and you're actually fixing that pain point for them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
So I think that's beautiful what your company model really is.
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
it's not like, you go into it and go, well, I know nothing about it. I've never worked on them. I'm not doing it for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You
Yes.
decide to take that time and go, I want to meet where the customer is. I want to make sure the customer gets a high level of service.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
no, it's great.
And equipment is expensive. It's an investment.
for
and
sure.
so, I mean, where people think like, oh, something's wrong, I'm just going to have to throw it away or get something new. Well, no, you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So let's figure it out and see if it's worth fixing.
But there's companies that do what you do that will tell them, yeah, just get a new one. We'll replenish you whatever you need there.
Yeah.
Which are
You're
they
right.
really doing them a favor sometimes, right? Unless it's a super old unit and
Yes,
you're calling us every week to fix something.
Yeah, no,
Then
which
it's not
I'm
a
like
win-win.
upfront with people if I figure out the year of their machine, and then I find out because I'm a distributor of several different equipment partnerships with manufacturers that if I'm told on the tech side too that a machine is going out or parts are going to be obsolete, then I'm just really upfront about that of, hey, here's what you should know. You should know that they're not making some of these parts. So here's now your opportunity to make a decision to move on.
Yeah.
We can help you fix this. It might be temporary. So then the customer has the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just out of curiosity, how I've seen the floor scrubbers or whatever that they ride on at the
Yeah.
grocery store and stuff. How long is a life expectancy of one of those things?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. It's more like battery life is the
Oh.
thing that will go
Oh,
first.
the battery. Yeah, I suppose.
Yes. So I've seen battery life last anywhere from 3 to honestly like 6 years, which is really good for an AGM battery.
Okay.
Before then I have to replace that. And so like, I mean, that's the brains of it. The equipment itself, it really depends on how much it's used and how well it's taken care of. I've seen machines that are 20 years old and still working great. So
So 15 years is probably a good
Yes.
lifespan on one of those machines.
yeah, for sure.
That makes sense. I'm only saying that because that's one of the biggest questions we get, right? Like,
Sure.
like how long does my air conditioner last?
Oh,
Or how
yeah.
long does a furnace last,
Yeah.
right? And it's usually anywhere from 12 to 15 years. After that, I always really truly believe you're getting value out of
Absolutely.
that unit at that
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah.
And same with a floor scrubber, right? You
Yeah.
got 30 years on it. You've gotten value for the last 15
Oh gosh.
years. You know?
How many times have you not had to use that hand mop right across the floor that you're letting a machine do
Yeah.
that for you?
Yep.
Yeah.
For
it's worth
sure,
it.
for sure. And as entrepreneurs, we both know success is one of those things. It looks glamorous, like we talked about, and it's not. And everybody thinks it's simplifying your life, right?
Yeah.
On the outside, but it can feel really lonely on the inside at times. And I know you, and I know that. How have you dealt with some of those like moments of self-doubt and like just that imposter syndrome? Because
Yeah.
there's an imposter syndrome in what you're doing too, because
Oh, gosh.
you're just learning within the last 6 years, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I haven't lived this life all my life. I get
Yeah.
that because I've not been a CEO or CFO
No.
ever, and I never
Yeah.
trained for it, right? We
No.
just kind of get put in that position
Yes.
as your company, because you own the company.
Yeah.
How do you deal with some of that?
I think, well, a couple different ways is just having that positive mindset or doing my best to do that. There's days where I have to, I just have to go out for a run and I just have to clear my head, or I have to go to a CrossFit class, which people think that's crazy that that's my thing. But it's the time that I can show up for myself, have an hour where I'm not even thinking about the workout and I can just stop thinking about work. And then get back on it. And so it's just a little rejuvenation. Also having just really great people in your back pocket to talk to about that. So other business owners, my mom has been amazing because she's a former business owner. My dad will have great things to talk about for his landscape company, right, that he had on the side. So people that have already been there, done that are great people to like pep you up and to get back on your mindset back on track. So whether you're doing something for yourself to escape, even if it's just for an hour at a time, or other people that can help talk you through those situations, it doesn't need to be doom and gloom.
Yeah.
There's always a way to figure it out. And I think I've just always had that positive mindset in a way too, but there's hard moments. No doubt. But also knowing that people depend on you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to let them down, whether it's my employees because they depend on this work and the income and I'm helping feed families, or my customers who are relying on my customer service. And do I want them to go to Amazon? No, I don't. I want Royal Supply to show up and I want us to put things on your shelf for you, not just drop it off the front door, because we do things differently. So I don't like the feeling of letting anybody down either.
Yeah.
And so that keeps me going and that it's worth it. It's, I don't grow up thinking, because I've only done it for 6 years now. So thinking, oh, my kids are going to take this over and it's going to be some big business. If they don't want to go in this direction, that's totally fine. I'm fulfilling what makes me feel good, which is customer service and fulfilling a problem that somebody might have, which is, where do I get my paper towel and where do I get my, cups from, or, whatever it is that they need.
Fulfilling the problems that's what drives you.
Yeah.
Which is super awesome.
Yeah.
I just had an epiphany more recently. And I talk about we are lonely sometimes because we do have that, right? But you always have to show the leadership, right? You can't if you curl up in the fetal position if you have team members, they're gonna curl up in the fetal position. So you have to full charge, even though you got a pandemic. You got an uncle that just walked away from the business. And now he's working for a competitor. All those things are fighting you, right?
Yes.
But the epiphany I had the other day, I was blessed to be able to spend a little time in the emergency room, right?
Yes.
With someone that I love. And what really passed on to me at that point is we're in the middle of summer right now, so there's a lot of work going on, and I'm stressed. I'm and I'm in the middle of everything, and I'm going, oh my gosh, could it get any worse, right?
Yes.
But you walk into an emergency room, and these people are dealing with life and death. They're dealing with mental health crisis.
Yes.
I mean, it's you got people that are dying in the rooms, right? Or potentially, because trash carts running by me, they've got a code blue going. It's my job isn't life or death. I kind of get it, yes, in the moment it feels like that. But when those people, I give all the respect to those nurses and doctors that work in those hospitals, because there's this life and death, right? There is the decision that they make does change somebody's life completely, right?
For sure.
I'm not trying to downplay what I do, because I think heating and air is important to people. Yeah. But I'm not saving somebody's life. If they don't have heat for an evening, they'll live.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I make a bad decision, they'll still go on. Mm-hmm. But if you're a doctor or a nurse and you make a bad decision, oh my goodness. So I'm just grateful that there's people out there. I feel like gratitude has been what I've really worked on to help me get through some of that imposter syndrome, because I have it took me a while to get through that too, being a CEO of a company. Yeah. Knowing that in my back of my mind, I've never went to formal. I don't have a degree an MBA from the St. Thomas College or University of Minnesota. I didn't go to, but you learn as you go, right? And then when things start to kind of be challenging, you're like, I'm not good enough for this. But I think you have to stand tall and proud and push through that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I fight through.
For sure. Well, it's staying true to your values, reminding yourself where you started and why you started doing it. Because I think we just get caught up in all of those things. Yeah. And we forget, why did we start doing this? Why did I say yes to my mom? Why did I buy her out? Why did I want to take that on completely? Why am I owning a warehouse and having, a really big mortgage? Because that's stressful sometimes. Oh, but I made that decision and I'm going to stick by it and I'm going to make it happen. Yeah. Do I have to be badonkers and huge about it? No. But I'm going to keep to my values and keep serving my customers, and things will happen.
I love that. What a great way to look at business.
Thank you. Yeah.
And we got into some heavy stuff there. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take a break.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll be back.
Sounds good.
At Twin City Tales Podcast, we believe in strong communities are built by people and organizations willing to care for others. That's why we are proud to support Hammer and NER, an incredible Minnesota nonprofit helping adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities live life to the fullest. Their work creates opportunity, dignity, independence, and connection right here in our community. If you'd like to help, Hammer and NER is always looking for volunteers, advocates, and donations to continue their mission. I am one of those people that highly help that community out. Learn more, get involved, or give back at hammer.org. Together, we can continue building a stronger, more compassionate community for everyone. Ever walk into a house and flip a switch and have no idea what it actually does? Is it a light, an outlet, or something in the garage? Nobody knows. Or what about when you plug in something into an outlet and it just slowly falls out like it's giving up on life? Or worse, the outlet just doesn't work at all. Well, we see that stuff every day. At Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, we help homeowners take care of those small electrical issues before they turn into bigger problems. Loose outlets, dead plugs, mystery switches, we'll track it down, fix it right, and make your home actually work the way it's supposed to. So if something feels off electrically, it probably is. Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, built here, stays here, feel the difference. Before we jump back into this conversation with Missy, I've got a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the Twin Cities Tales, please take a moment to hit that subscribe or follow button. It helps us share these incredible stories with more people throughout the Twin Cities and beyond. And if you've enjoyed an episode, learned something new, or even been inspired by one of our guests, we'd greatly appreciate a rating or a review. It only takes a minute, but it helps others discover the show. You can find Twin City Tales on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you enjoy your favorite podcast. And don't forget to follow our Twin City Tales page on Facebook for behind-the-scenes content, upcoming guests, episode highlights, and more stories from around our community. Most importantly, thank you. This podcast is built around celebrating the people who make a difference. Business leaders, community champions, entrepreneurs, athletes, and everyday people with extraordinary stories to tell. Your support allows us to continue sharing those stories. Now let's get back into my conversation with Missy. And remember, life is too short for bad stories, bad coffee, or bad service. And you can't go wrong with Wymond Wong. So Missy, we're back. Who's someone you would love to hear or see on this podcast, and why?
Oh gosh. There's so many people that have amazing stories. One that I've really enjoyed is Mr. Bob Burns of Burns Cleaning. He has an amazing story of how he started. So he would be really cool to just hear that or display that for others.
He's a really good guy. We used to do our house. My wife
Yes.
loved him. He
Yes.
did a great job with our house.
Love it.
He does more commercial now, but
Yes.
he did our residential cleaning, and
Yeah.
he's a great guy. What a
Yeah.
fantastic guy. I'll have to get him. I'll have to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'd love it. So this is where we start giving you the pictures. That's our picture portion of our show.
Oh, sure.
And I love this one. Man, you had some cheeks then, didn't you?
Yes. I think it took a really long time for those things to grow out. I don't know. I probably still have them a little bit, but that's kindergarten.
That was kindergarten?
Yeah.
Okay. And you went to probably in that Robbinsdale school district back then.
Yeah, I was at Forest Elementary.
Okay.
And I think it went away for a couple of years and then it came back. So it's still around.
Where was that? That's got to be like close to
So it's
36.
in Crystal, actually down towards the Crystal Community Center area. And I want to say, I'm so bad with directions, but the west side of Douglas Drive. So tucked in almost to, let's say, the New Hope Ice Arena. Kind of like back in there. They almost shared neighborhoods. So
yeah, there's so many cool things up there. Like the Sunshine Factory's been up there for a while. And
Yes.
It's just kind of
I used to sell pull tabs there.
Do they?
I
Did
used
you?
to, yeah.
No way, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
They moved down the street now, I believe.
So now that one's called Pub 42,
Yep.
and the Sunshine Factory moved to the Plymouth area.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I love this one. You got to tell me a little more about this.
Oh, that's my sister and I. I think, so there was a date on the back of the picture that I was 3, which means my sister was 2.
Okay.
So I'm the blonde curly, of course. But that's at my great-grandmother's farm in North Dakota.
Oh, so that was a North Dakota farm. I was thinking, I was trying to figure out if that was in Crystal.
No, I found it and I was like, okay, farm equipment, this is super cool. Maybe we should, have this in it. But so that was my great-grandmother's farm. Yeah.
You've kind of like grown up somewhat around farms then.
A little bit.
your
I mean,
life,
I'm
which-
not like, I wasn't baling hay or anything like that. You see some of those like strong people, and I've never, milked a cow or anything
Right.
like that, but just, I guess, been around it.
And understanding
Yes.
growing.
The hard work.
Hard work. I hate to say it. I'm a city boy by nature, so.
Yeah, it's okay.
So this one is. How old were you there?
Oh,
You
gosh.
had the braces going.
Yeah,
And
that was 7th grade.
7th grade? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, where I mean, I feel like most kids are really just trying to figure themselves out in middle school
Yeah.
time of who am I gonna be? And so it was like darker makeup, my braces. I had braces. I must have got them off shortly after that because I had braces on from like 4th to 7th grade.
Okay.
So yeah.
And the world is for us when we're in like 7th grade is so small, right? Like
Yeah.
we think everything like
It's a big deal.
like yeah. When we combine New Hope, Crystal, and like I live in a big area. Like
Yeah.
you know, this is the whole life, right?
Right.
Until you realize as you get older, like no, that was just a little small part. Like it doesn't matter what other people think here of me.
For
in
sure.
New Hope, right? So,
No. Yeah. That was funny.
and this one is of your lovely husband, isn't it?
Yes. So that was the day of our wedding, and we started dating. Actually, it was the summer after freshman year of high school.
Oh, wow. So you married your high school sweetheart.
I did, yeah.
That's awesome.
So we were 15 when we first started dating. We couldn't drive. Our parents had to drive each other to hang out with one another.
Right.
He's only about 2 months older than me, so
Okay.
he was the first one to get his license. And yeah, here we are many years later.
That's super cool. You don't see that very often.
No.
I mean, so how long have you been married now?
This year will be 18 years of marriage.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, we got married a little bit later in life because by the time I finished college, he went to Dunwoody, so he's an electrician. So that was a 2-year program. Mine was a 4-year at Augsburg. And then I told him this. I said, do not ask me to marry you until I'm done with college and I have a career, because I don't want to depend on you.
Yeah.
Obviously, he listened and waited. So, and here we are. We have a 13 and a 15-year-old now. So a 13-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter. So
That's awesome. I mean, a lot of people I know are married 3 or 4 times in 18 years.
Yeah.
So you got something really special going there.
thank you.
And this I was really interested in. This is actually your vision board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I must have taken a picture of it for my mom at one point just to save for like the archives of like this is where it started. I still have that board and I keep it in my bathroom. I have a half bath through my closet. And so I have my several vision boards and I'll use like the backside for another year and what have you. So I have a couple of years stacked up in my bathroom. And so I think I just took a picture for her to just kind of keep, because this is honestly where it first began in Royal Supply and all the things. So it's cool to remind myself and go back and read what my goals were at that time and see the trajectory now of how they've completely shifted. And I mean, all good things, but
Yeah, that's so awesome because it's like you kept that word simplify. And I feel like that's kind of like, even though I jokingly say like entrepreneurship is not simplification.
no.
But with that word, and it's so powerful for you that I think you use that to help customers simplify. And I think what are the examples? Give us an example of how you help customers simplify their.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I honestly, on my way here today, I got a phone call from a gentleman, and he said, "Hey, do you fix equipment?" And I said, well, what kind of piece of equipment do you have? And so we went through some of the general questions. I found out he had a carpet extractor. It wasn't putting chemical out on the floor. So he just did a quick like pre-treat of his carpet and he was still able to use the machine to pick it up and the brush is working fine. But long story short, I mean, we ended up having a 20-minute conversation that was so great. And I gave him a couple of tidbits and I said, I'm also going to follow up with tech support for that manufacturer of that machine. I don't work with, I mean, most people don't have a lot of carpet these days. It's a lot of vinyl planking. It's a lot of floor scrubbing these days. So I haven't worked with carpet extractors as often. So I said, I'll call the manufacturer and just get a couple of tidbits. And, I think what helped him a ton and what ended up having our conversation go so long of just having a genuine connecting conversation was he brought it up himself. He was like, okay, so I just have to use the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. And I said, yeah, you said it. I didn't. But he just really appreciated me taking the time to have the conversation, to keep it simple, check a filter and see if it was clogged or not. And maybe that's why product wasn't being dispensed out. And then I would get back to him with some other things to try out in the interim. So I could help him troubleshoot it over the phone without paying a tech person to necessarily come out. He had used somebody in the past to fix his equipment who is no longer in business. He's looking for somebody else to use. And he was just so appreciative of the genuine conversation we had and looked forward to talking to me again. So I mean, it was just a really fulfilling conversation of helping him keep it simple. And he didn't have to think about hauling his piece of equipment somewhere because I explained, I come to you. I can't do it right now, but let's schedule that time if I can't get you an answer over the phone, right? So that was just super helpful and keeping it simple.
That's a beautiful thing that you do and how you project that on your company. Like just those words like that, simplify, just simple words, right? Which is really awesome.
Yeah.
This year, our word for my company was 1% better.
Oh.
1% better.
Yes.
Everything we do, just 1% better.
Yes.
Not
than
a
the day
lot.
before.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Going to this picture, I know you probably like going, back to the braces picture again.
Yeah.
If Missy could walk back in time and run into this young Missy, what advice would you give her, what you know now?
Oh, gosh. And not to say that I haven't done this, but I think just telling her that things, even though the world seems complicated, and not to use this word over and over for what we've talked about today, but to honestly, just to keep it simple and don't overcomplicate it. And I'm not trying to say this about all women, but I do it to myself. I tend to overanalyze, and then you get wrapped up in other things, and then you make it a mountain when it was really a molehill. And so if you just keep it simple for yourself, it's going to be okay. Yeah. And so just reminding that young self, like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to make it. Just keep at it.
Nothing's the end of the world. Death is the only time it's the end of the world.
Yeah. And I've already I was at a funeral yesterday. So let's just, keep moving on.
Yeah.
Right?
Love that advice. Keeping it simple and not make things too overcomplicated. Don't overthink things. Like, you will get through it. And it's not a life or death situation. It's just part of a challenge, right?
For sure.
I love that. That's really awesome. So, what a great conversation. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah.
This is fun.
And so, before you go, we actually have a few departing gifts for you.
Okay.
One of the things that everybody gets, as a little a thank you, is you get your own little thumb thank you trophy.
Yes. Thank you. This reminds me of being Miss Congeniality.
There you go.
We have to wave with it.
And of course, nobody leaves without some fortune cookies
for themselves
I love
for fortunes. Yes.
And I was thinking about what would be really like you, right? And like owning a business for the last 6 years. And I feel like for me, I started my business in like 2002, right? Failed miserably. And probably 15 years into it, I read a book called Start with the Why. And we talked about, you kept saying the why earlier. Why this, why that. So I don't know if you read Simon Sinek or Start with the Why.
No, I haven't yet.
But it's fantastic.
It
really starts with, it's not always what you do, it's why you do it, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's your story.
Yeah.
Because in all reality, the what, janitorial stuff, right? Like, that's just the what. And it's not like you back when and said, janitorial supplies, that's me at the age of 18, right?
No.
Like, the why is really how you service customers.
Yes.
And that's what I really love about that.
Thank you.
And I thought that
this
would
is
be
so
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah, thank you. Gosh darn it.
I love it. And my name on it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on our show on Twin Sea Tales. If you want more information on Missy Wilson, you can go to royalsupplymn.com. That's royalsupplymn.com. If you can't write that fast, we'll put it on our Spotify page, our YouTube page, or you can just visit us on Twin Sea Tales Facebook, and we'll post it on there. As we roll out of here, I want to thank Chris Hockey for the use of his song Thanks, with no pun intended. This podcast is powered by Twin Sea Heating, Air, and Electric. And remember, you can't go wrong with Wymond Wong on your Twin Sea Tales podcast.
This song goes out to my family, to all the ones who died before me. I'm sure the family life made you do things you never wanted to, so I wrote this song to say thank you for the breath that I just took, for the life my son will lead. I hope when you look down from heaven, that you are proud.